I have tried to stay away from politics, but it's been very, very difficult, especially with this election. For those who, this is my first video you're watching, I am social conservative, fiscal liberal. I call myself a social justice evangelical Christian. I was born again a little over 2 years ago, and I make these videos to talk about my struggle with faith, my walk with faith, my struggle with politics, etc. And this election is really frustrating me because of the rhetoric and of the Tea Party. I see the Tea Party supporting policies that I think go against my faith, and they are cloaking it in religious talk. I mean, it's unholy alliance, I believe, between social conservatives and fiscal conservatives. And I am right of center socially, and I'm left of center fiscally. And so I'm trying to understand exactly where the Tea Party, where you guys are coming from. And I will not use the word teabaggers. I mean, I've talked to some of my friends, and they use that word, and I said, no, it's demeaning. It's demeaning. I might call you right-wing extremists, but I will not call you a demeaning sexual slang word. But I have a couple questions, and I would like to get a response. I don't know. I don't think Sarah Palin, Christine O'Donnell, Sharon Angle, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, etc. might respond to this, but maybe some of their supporters might. 1. Moderates feel burned by the Bush years. Tax policies that seem to benefit the very wealthy at the expense of the middle class and the poor. Policies that did not create the jobs that were promised. What would you say to those who might believe that the current government may be too liberal, but don't want to go back to the policies of 2001 to 2007? And according to the Wall Street Journal, Bush had a terrible record on job creation. Bill Clinton had more of a job growth in his 2 terms, for 23.1 million jobs created compared to George W. Bush 3.0, and George Bush had just a little bit more than his father in his term, and also the income inequality gap is astounding, and I think that's something we as Christians should fight. In 2007, according to Emmanuel Sayers, an economics professor at University of California, Berkeley, and yes, Berkeley is a liberal school, but I don't think numbers lie. The top 0.001% of American earners took home 6% of total U.S. wages, about twice the figure of 2000. And he also said that 10% of American earners pulled in 49.7% of total wages, a level higher than any other year since 1917 and even surpasses 1928 before the Great Depression. My question is, why do you support policies? Why do you support policies that seem to serve money? All they do is serve money. All they do is create wealth and store the treasure here on earth instead of helping do kingdom work. And I know there are good Christian capitalists, I know. But the sad thing is, a majority, we live in a very fallen world, and that is just a minority. And so when you have tax policy, that benefits the wealthy and screws basically the rest, that is not healthy. That is not Christian. And yes, I do believe in charity. I do believe that enterprise has to be free, not controlled by the government. Because once it's controlled by the government, you do have tyranny of the left. But we're also getting almost put to the point of tyranny of the right when you have government controlled by free enterprise. Government controlled by business interests at the expense of the people. And that is nearing when you have tyranny of the right. And I think that people are okay with tyranny on the right, or maybe blinded to the possibility of that, while scaring people about tyranny of the left. Number 2, The BP oil spill, the DeCastro egg recall, and the West Virginia Massey mining disaster shows to me that when corporate interests are allowed to run wild with little government intervention, regulation, these things happen. Conservatives have the reputation of being for a laissez-faire economy. What would your policies do to help prevent these further disasters? I mean, we're supposed to be the light of the world. We're supposed to be the light of the world. We're supposed to show that there's another way, that there is a way to live where you love God with your heart, soul, and mind and strength, and you love your neighbors yourself. But these corporate interests, I mean, if you care more about prophets than the prophet, Jesus, our King, and the prophets that came before him, if you that is wrong. That is wrong. And I don't understand how people who claim to be following the one living God support these type of policies. I don't understand. And like I said, I don't want government controlling everything. I just want government regulating the excesses of human greed. And this leads to the other question. I mean, you believe that the government should be used to lower, if not eliminate, abortion, to prevent same-sex marriage, to protect the sanctity of marriage. Even like Senator DeMint thinks the government should be used to prevent homosexuals from teaching in public school and unwed mothers. And I can understand that. I can understand that sentiment. But you don't want the government to be used to help protect God's creation. You don't want the government to help fight for the poor, the oppressed, those people who Jesus commanded us to fight for. That's hypocrisy. You're for big government in one respect, but you're against big government in another respect. So you can't be against big government, but for big government. That's hypocrisy. States' rights. I mean, you believe in the 10th Amendment. You believe that any laws not given to the federal government in the Constitution goes to the states. And you use that for the health care bill, for example. But yet, if states want to legalize medical marijuana, or if states want to legalize same-sex marriage, I mean, I'm kind of in an iffy on this. I believe in civil unions. I believe that it's better for two homosexuals to live in a committed relationship than to live a life of random indiscriminate sex. But I still believe marriage is a holy sacrament. And so I do believe that, but I do believe that civil union is something of the state. But yet, if, like, let's say Iowa, which voted for, which Iowa legalized same-sex marriage, you want to use federal government to supersede that and medical marijuana. And I understand that if, like, let's say California legalizes medical marijuana and someone takes the medical marijuana from California to Nevada, let's say, that doesn't have it legalized, then that is a crime. But to use federal mandates to crack down on a states' rights issue is wrong, isn't it? Or are you just using states' rights for when it's convenient? And I don't know, maybe I see a lot of hypocrisy here, and I don't see trying to work together, and that's one of the things I'm afraid of if the Republicans gain control, is that we will have gridlock. We will have we won't have anything really getting done. The budget will be frozen and government will be shut down, kind of like what Newt Gingrich did in 1995. But I personally think if they do that, that would be one of the best things, maybe, because it will show that the Republicans, that the Tea Party, though the people who value purity over getting things done, do not deserve to lead. But the fear is that we live in very, very dangerous times, in those 2 years, I mean, we could have another economic crisis and couldn't get together, and it could lead to a very, very dark time. And I mean, I believe that we might be living in the end times. I believe there's a possibility the Antichrist might not come from the secular socialist left, but might actually come from the fundamentalist right. I hope I'm wrong, and I pray that I'm wrong, but it's in God's hands, not mine. So these are the questions I have, and please, don't just respond, you're blinded by the liberal media, you're naive, you don't know what you're talking about. Those all things might be true. I don't think they are, but they might be true. But point to me where you are for, that you do believe that that the BP, the Virginia Massey, but you have things that can fix those problems. Counterbalance that your tax policies does not serve money. Counterbalance it with facts, not innuendo, not name calling, facts. Because if all it is innuendo, all it is like smoke and mirrors, it just shows how weak your argument is. Well, anyway, I just wanted to say that, and God bless.